Hello and welcome to 5-Year Club video number 249. Tonight's article is a bit more of a personal article. Well, personal to somebody, not me. It's someone who purchased a home in Las Vegas in 2007. And if you'll remember, Las Vegas, it was one of the hardest hit areas. You could buy houses at the height of the crisis for, less than $100,000 for a 4-bedroom house or something like that. It was crazy. And of course, Las Vegas is like a vacation gambling area. So obviously when you're in a financial crisis, there's not a lot of people looking to gamble away their money. They're scared. I have this fear it's all going to happen again. Former Las Vegas homeowner remembers housing crisis. And make sure my audio levels are being picked up. Yep, they are. Okay, let's get going. Leo Murrieta lives in Las Vegas and works as director of Make the Road Nevada, a civil rights organization that protects the rights of immigrants and working families in Nevada. Before the recession, he and his family, his mom and dad, brother, sister, and nieces, lived in North Las Vegas in one of the zip codes that would become the hardest hit in the foreclosure crisis. But in 2007, when Murrieta bought the 5-bedroom, 3.5-bath home, it felt like a dream come true. It was beautiful on the inside, he says. My whole family, we're all from Mexico, and my mother decided to paint the inside of the house just traditional, bright, vibrant colors. We had a purple kitchen, a gigantic red wall. It was a perfect fit with a master bedroom on the bottom floors for my parents because they were older. It was really a dream come true. Everything we could have asked for in a house. Murrieta and his family worked in the casino industry. His father was a custodian, his mother a cashier. Murrieta funded the majority of the down payment for the $500,000 house. But they were not on a subprime loan. Their 30-year fixed mortgage came to about $2,300 per month. But we were clearing, as a family, 3 or 4 times that, Murrieta says, and so we were able to afford everything. A domino effect. But even in that first year, there were warning signs of instability in the mortgage market. 2, 3, 4 times, Murrieta received notices that his mortgage had been sold. It kept happening, to the point where I wasn't sure where we were supposed to send our mortgage to, and once I sent it to the wrong bank, he says, because they didn't tell us that they sold our mortgage to another bank. Everything that I had thought had made this house such a gem had started just fading away slowly. That was 2007. The next year, Leo Murrieta's mother was diagnosed with cancer, and then the financial crisis hit. It strangled Las Vegas's economy. My mother was the first to lose her job at the end of 2008, Murrieta says. She was a cashier at a grocery store for about 13 years. And in us trying to put her on my father's benefits, she was dropped because her treatments were too expensive. It was a domino effect. It hit everywhere. Everyone was losing their jobs. In January of 2009, my older brother lost his job at the casino, and then in March I lost mine, and in April my sister lost hers. And very quickly we became a household formerly of 5 incomes, now of 1. All of it at once. And then the foreclosures started spreading, like a darkness across the neighborhood. Our neighborhood was alive with laughs and kids screaming or being silly, and then within a couple of months it was just silent, Murrieta says. Murrieta and his family were the only people still living in the neighborhood in a 2-block radius. As people started losing their houses, we saw the stores in the neighborhood start closing. We saw the library close its hours, and everything just started fading away, he says. Everything that I had thought had made this house such a gem had started just fading away slowly. And then we hear signs advertising empty professional office space for sale or lease Thursday, June 21st, 2012 in North Las Vegas. Murrieta says he watched banks seize his neighbors' houses even if the owners refused to leave. We saw another neighbor across the street from us. They just came and they padlocked the house and they put up a barrier in the back, and all of their things were still inside, he says. So these banks were ruthless. Murrieta's own finances were rapidly dwindling. He had liquidated all of his assets. He cleared out his entire bank account. It only took 6 months to just get down to zero, he says. I felt just such shame that I couldn't provide, and I couldn't find a job that would pay me anywhere near enough to even just make our mortgage. Temporary relief. Marietta, so let's read this again. It took only 6 months to just get down to zero, he says. So a 6-month emergency fund for this guy, leveraged with a $500,000 house, not enough. $500,000 house for Las Vegas, that's a really nice house. Temporary relief. Murrieta says he tried repeatedly to refinance his mortgage or to adjust his interest rate. He was repeatedly denied. However, by 2010, he'd finally found a new job, but it paid just $8 an hour. When I would go to work in the morning, I'd work like 9-10 hours a day, and I would drive home wondering if we had a house, Murrieta says. My parents basically just stayed. They stayed inside the house to watch it and make sure that the bank didn't come. My mother would pray like all day that God would deliver us from this downturn and from this sinking ship. And here's the thing that doesn't get talked about a lot when we look back at the Great Recession. It devastated families financially, but also emotionally, Murrieta says. It was like an unbearable pall that spread throughout the house. But in 2010, Murrieta says the family grabbed hold of a lifeline. President Obama signed the Affordable Care Act into law. His mother got health insurance, which helped a lot with their huge medical bills. I gotta say, backing up here, and here's the thing that doesn't get talked about a lot when we look back at the Great Recession. It devastated families financially, but also emotionally. Well, we can't always control our financial lives in the sense of, these huge medical bills that are referred to here. But we can prepare ourselves emotionally, regardless of our financial situation, for this kind of downturn. And since we know it happened in 2008, and we know that, the national debt is so big, and we don't have the opportunity to bail ourselves out of the next financial crisis, we can know right now in 2018 that when it hits, it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. And if you're leveraged, it's going to mess up your life. We could see the uptick, and we were finally able to refinance our house, Murrieta says, and we were able to, in less than 8 months, refinance it twice. The relief didn't last long. Murrieta says his mother's medical expenses continued to climb. Her medications cost more than $800 a month. Again, they fell behind on their mortgage. In 2013, foreclosure proceedings began on Leo Murrieta's home, and they lost the house. North Las Vegas booming again. His family is in rentals now, as are 45% of North Las Vegas residents who live in single-family homes today. They're vulnerable in a whole new way as the rental market heats up, because now North Las Vegas is on the upswing. Home prices are rising almost 3 times as fast as the national average. The New York Times reports that it's one of the most overvalued markets in the country. Amazon and other companies are bringing thousands of jobs. It's so vibrant now, Murrieta says. It made me feel really happy that the neighborhood was back, but it also made me feel really sad that we weren't a part of it. But if North Las Vegas is booming, it's taken Murrieta's own life much longer to recover. He's had to declare bankruptcy. His car was repossessed. His credit was shot. I think it was about a year ago where I finally got my first credit card at a $300 credit limit, Murrieta says, and it was the first time in a very long time that I had been told yes by a creditor. I don't think his problem is that he can't get a credit card or he doesn't have a good credit card. I think his problem is that he doesn't have any money. And I don't know, perhaps Las Vegas is not the best place to work during a recovery. But there's still one thing that's broken in Leo Murrieta's life, and perhaps irreparably so, his trust in the financial system and in the American dream. It left me really fearful of not having enough money to pay the bills to get by to eat. There were times I didn't eat in 2009, he says. I had to really try to have an internal conversation with myself of, do I want to do that again? And I want to be present, and I want to be a really good husband, and I want to have a family together, and I want to have a place for my children, my future children, to live and to be happy and grow up. But I have this fear that it's all going to happen again. In 2018, Murrieta feels America has not truly recovered from the crisis. I think he's right. What I see when I drive down the street and across the valley here in Las Vegas, and I see the prices going up so high, new builds in southern Nevada at 400,000 and low 400,000s and high 300,000s and mid 300,000s. And I wonder, who is that for? Who can live in this house? He says, this isn't sustainable. This is a really big problem. Nevada was decimated a decade ago by the housing crisis, and I feel really frustrated every day that I go to work because it feels like nobody learned their lesson. And, recently I've been, reflecting on or going back to articles from 2008. Maybe it's appropriate because it's 2018, so the news is, reflecting on 10 years ago. But I think it's important. And I know that there are a lot of financial sources that are not going to bring this up again. That there are a lot of real estate agents and loan officers who are going to tell you, oh, that can't happen again. Of course, because they want to close the deal. They want to get their commission. They want to get their money. And it's good to have a reminder that the economy is not always as good as it is now. And we need to be prepared for when it goes down again. Because when it goes down again, the strip mall down the street is not going to look like the strip mall you passed yesterday morning. Things are not going to look the same. Things are not going to feel the same. It's going to be very different. And you're either going to have the money to make the changes that you will need to make when that happens, or you won't. And you will end up like this poor fellow. All right, well, that is it for 5 Year Club video number 249. Have a fabulous evening.